The world champions in second spot. They're going to do it. The South Australian champions, now they're the Grand Slam champions too. Plaisted and Gilbert take it. Celebrate, boys, celebrate. It was one of Mark Plaisted's truly golden moments, defeating then world champion Darren Treloar in a runoff to win the Sidecar Grand Slam series. Tonight, he returns to the scene of his greatest triumph to test himself against the world's best sidecar riders from Australia, England and New Zealand. On Speed, welcome to Kurri Speedway for exclusive coverage of the opening round of the Blackchrome Sidecar Grand Slam series. This is the one and only Chequered Flag, celebrating 19 years. Proudly presented by Valvoline SynPower, delivering the ultimate motor oil protection and performance. Great to have your company. Welcome to the Kurri Speedway in the New South Wales Hunter Valley region, where the conditions are inclement for this opening round of the prestigious Blackchrome Sidecar Grand Slam. Quite a night coming your way, and of course you'll see all of the highlights of this event exclusively right here on the Speed Channel. Joining me trackside, one of three lady passengers tonight, Clarissa Mitchell. There must be something of a revolution happening in the sport with all you chicks.
I think it's great. I think there should be more females doing it, but yeah, no, it's awesome.
Yourself obviously combining with your brother, Yolanda riding with Stuart Firth out of Queensland,
yep,
and Philippa Burns and Andrea Buchanan as well. So I guess should there be a situation where you women are rubbing shoulders out there, it'll be a bit of fun, no love lost.
No, I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be a battle of the sexes, and I think us girls will want to outdo each other, I think.
Now, the last time we saw you guys in action here was the grand final of this tournament last season. You had a lot of bike problems that night, but I'm told that things won't be that way tonight.
No, we've sort of spent a lot of money and a lot of time on the engine and done a few things to the bike, so hopefully we've got it down pat. We took the bike out of Kurri a few weeks ago, so it went well. So yeah, fingers crossed.
In terms of the sport, incredible increase in professionalism in recent years, not just in the quality of the riders, but indeed the presentation of the teams.
I think it's important now because there's so much dollars available. You get a lot of sponsors that are throwing all this money at you, so you've got to look the part, not just do the part, but you've also got to look the part as well to make it look professional. So yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Good luck tonight. Clarissa Mitchell, as I said, one of three female passengers involved in the opening round of the Blackchrome Sidecar Grand Slam. Of course, Mark Plaisted is the defending champion. He won the title at this very venue earlier in 2013. A lot of interest in him tonight as he debuts with a new passenger.
For anyone that attended the Sidecar Grand Slam Grand Final at Kurri last season, they witnessed one of the best match races contested in the history of the sport. It was the championship battle between the master, Darren Treloar, and the apprentice, Mark Plaisted.
We are seconds away from the action. Tapes fly. Can Plaisted and Gilbert make it 7 race wins? They have started brilliantly. What can Treloar do about it?
Treloar and Simon Cors needed to win the A final to clinch the series and cap off an outstanding season that included a 7th Australian title win, whereas Plaisted and Sam Gilbert had to prevail in order to force a runoff for the Grand Slam crown. Fortunately, the cards fell the way of the South Australian, and his Grand Slam achievement is now in the history books. Since the end of last season, there have been some changes to his preparation, with Sam Gilbert being forced to stand down from passenger duties. Plaisted has since filled that vacancy with another rising star in Brian Anthony, and he begins his championship defence full of confidence.
Nah, mate, we went good last year and everything worked well, and yeah, it's exactly the same bike, mate. We just freshened up the motors, and yeah, here we go again, mate. Same bike, different passenger, but same commitment, and yeah, we're pretty confident we can win again, mate.
Okay. What sort of engine are you using? You still sticking with the Yamaha?
Yeah, we're still running the TRE prepared Yamahas, mate, FZRs, and they seem to be the things to beat over the last 10 years. So yeah, we ain't changing nothing, mate, because we're still at the pointy end.
With a new passenger coming on board, Plaisted has stepped up his commitment to defend his Grand Slam crown by undertaking a grueling fitness regime throughout the off-season, and it's starting to pay dividends.
Yeah, I've been doing a fair bit of training, and you know, it all helps with your racing. You know, the more you train, the fitter you are, the more confident you are, for me anyway, and I feel a lot fitter in myself and a lot more confident because Brian does a lot of training with the motocross, and that's sort of reflected back onto me, and yeah, I think we'll be good, mate.
Playstead and his hard-working team take tremendous pride in their presentation and professionalism at every meeting they contest across the country. Whilst he confesses he'd like to make sidecar racing a full-time occupation, the time preparing the bike and undertaking the travel makes this objective financially challenging.
If we're racing week to week, I don't know, anywhere from 15 to 20 hours, mate, you know, like all day Sunday washing, and then, yeah, Monday at least 3 or 4 hours a night, mate, pretty much to get you here every week, and then you got your travel time on top of that, you know, like to drive over from Adelaide, and then, yeah, we flew over, we got the bike and trailer driven over by Blackchrome. Big thanks to them, you know, they've helped us out to get here, and yeah, it's phenomenal the amount of time, you know, I'd like to be professional and do it every day of the week, but unfortunately we can't.
With the Grand Slam series set to kick off, Playstead is considered by many as one of the hot favourites to take out the crown. But with the local and international competition intensifying, Mark Playstead is under no illusions as to the challenge he faces.
Oh, everyone, mate. There's not one rider here that can't produce a win, mate. You know, the fields are that good, like this year and even last year. You know, you couldn't predict a winner, and every heat's like an A final, so you just got to be on top of your game right from heat 1.
Yes, a nice feature story on the defending champion Mark Playstead. Looking forward to seeing how he combines with his new passenger Brian Anthony tonight. At this juncture of our program, it's a very good evening to Australian Speedway's leading bike commentator, former international rider Rod Calhoun, who's with me in Kurri.
Yeah, thanks very much, Dave. Really looking forward to tonight's meeting. Best of the best assembled, and should be a cracker. Brand
new racing surface has been put on the track tonight, ahead of playing host to this very prestigious sidecar event. Here's the rider lineup: the current Victorian champions Monson and Morgan, the Englishmen Cave and Williams. We go down the list there. It is mighty impressive. Riders from most states of Australia, 2 teams from England, of course, the Kiwi husband and wife combination sitting there at number 13, Andrew Buchanan and Philippa Burns. They're very competitive. Of course, Grant Bond and Glenn Cox, there is no doubt they are the favourites in terms of the local contingent of riders, and Grant always performs well on this, his home track. So there are 16 teams in the field. Each of them will contest 5 qualifying rides. At the completion of the qualifying heats, the top 3 automatically go to the grand final. The next 4 qualifiers contest the sudden death B final, where the winner only will transfer through to the A final. Look at the sky. The forecast is inclement. Storms are forecast. There has been rain on and off throughout the day. We are concerned about that. But here's the opening heat over 4 laps. Monson and Morgan in red. Cave and Williams, the English team, in blue. Niche and Spear from South Australia in white. Hayden, Bond, Brady, Cox, yellow. Gate 4. Up against the wall. Here we are. Opening race of the Blackchrome Sidecar Grand Slam for 2013 and 14. And Cave, the Englishman, got the best start in the blue helmet colour. The Victorian champions, Monson and Morgan, are out the back. They had a horror first corner, and they've got a whole bunch of work to do. Here's the challenger, though. It's Niche and Spear on the inside.
Yeah, Niche looking pretty good there in second, but great start from Cave. Gee, got away from there very well. Looking just miss the apex there, and Niche dives up the inside and looks like he's done it.
Great race. They drag race down the back straight. The South Australian, Damien Niche. He bumps up on the inside. Now he runs wide. An opportunity for Cave, but he's not close enough this time. The English veteran, very competitive in this opening heat. Hayden Bond and obviously Monson and Morgan. They're having a terrific battle, as you can see, further back in the pack. There's Monson up on the inside. Well, they picked up where they left off last season. The boys are going bananas out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Monson, a very experienced campaigner, and young Bond, probably been involved for about 2 years now, but done a few laps around here. But this Damien Niche just looking superb out in front.
Yeah, he's a rider that contests major events right across Australia. Clicks up a lot of kilometres. Chequered Flag in heat number 1. 3 points to Damien Niche, Mitchell Spear. 2 to Cave and Williams, 1 point to Monson and Morgan. Bond and Cox, they'll be disappointed with that. The second generation riders not scoring a point in their opening ride tonight.
Yeah, I reckon as we go to the recap here, Cave and Williams have to take a lot of inspiration from what they've just achieved there. Damien Niche, no slouch, and gave him a really good run.
Monson getting very locked up on the first corner. Did well not to lose it completely. Then the Englishman ran wide and Niche stormed up on the inside to take the lead and was never headed from there with his passenger Mitchell Spear on the back of the bike. So the Valvoline Sin Power race recap shows you the style of the South Australians racing to the checkered flag. Now working with us in the pits tonight conducting the interviews, another former international rider. It's the great Mick Poole, and here he is now with Damien Niche.
Damien, first heat, mate, really good start, made it look easy.
No, it wasn't that easy. The other guys having a go. Just kept my nice tight line and held on to the end.
First time here, is it, or have you ridden here before?
Probably about fourth time I've ridden here.
So
Yeah.
Track's looking pretty good at the moment, nice and smooth.
Not too bad, but you just got to be careful on the throttle. Not too hot.
All right, thanks, mate.
Cheers, bud.
Well done to Damien Niche. As I alluded to, he covers a lot of territory, more than Burke and Wills, in fact, chasing his racing objectives. It's heat number 2 of the Blackchrome Sportswear and Workwear Sidecar Grand Slam Series. Unfortunately, the radar showing that rain is on the way. What a beautifully prepared kit that is on screen. Brodie Cohen and Cal Campbell out of Townsville in far north Queensland. You'd go a long way to find a better presented machine than theirs. Treloar and Cox will start on the inside wearing the red helmet colour, then Brodie and Cal. Mick Farrell Sr. and Brett Carr in white out of gate 3, and Shane Hudson and Brad Pitt. Hudson, another second generation rider in this sport. There in yellow, you're looking at Darren Treloar. And Blake Cox takes fly. Not a bad start by Brodie Cohen in the centre. Treloar, though, bumps him out of the way. And the veteran goes up on the inside. Mick Farrell Sr. making a race out of it. But Treloar goes whooshka on the outside and takes the lead.
Yeah, nice first turn from Mick Farrell Senior. A little bit of home track knowledge there, and what the riders are finding as they drift out, it's very hard to keep that line. It's a little bit loose on the outside, not as much bond there. I guess they've held back the watering due to the inclement weather, so good track preparation.
What about the onboard action? That's an onboard camera mounted on Cal Campbell's helmet. The leader is Darren Treloar and Blake Cox, and they are clear-cut leaders. In yellow, running second, Shane Hudson and Brad Pitt. Brodie Cohen and Cal Campbell getting up on the inside of Farrell to secure third. There's 1 lap to go in heat number 2.
Yeah, Hudson doing a good job in second too, behind Treloar. And yeah, he's really putting his best foot forward tonight, as you say, second generation racer and a really nice kid.
Not a bad crowd in tonight at the Kurri Speedway. Nowhere near as big a crowd as it should have been with the inclement weather and the rain around all day. But the hardy souls are here. And Treloar, with Cox on the side, takes 3 points for their victory in heat number 2. Hudson will be pleased with that. He and Pitt combined to snare 2 points, and Farrell Sr. and Brett Carr landing the 1 point. Brodie Cohen and Cal Campbell will be very disappointed, scoring no points in their opening ride after hitting the lead after the start. Now, the race recap for Valvoline Sin Power. Check this out. You're looking at vision from the helmet of Cal Campbell, the passenger to Brodie Cohen. This is unbelievable vision.
Yeah, it is unbelievable, and that's the nudge that cost him. Just a touch there, drifted wide, and gee, it's going to cost him as this meeting progresses. 3 points he could have had gone.
We'll stay with this as they negotiate the early stages of this race. You are right in the thick of the action, and you can see how close together they run. They touch there, and that was really the beginning of the end for the Cohen and Campbell combination in that race. Absolutely epic onboard pictures. It's tremendous to have your company on Chequered Flag tonight. We're coming to you from the Kurri Speedway in the New South Wales Hunter Valley region, and we're back with more of the Blackchrome Sidecar Grand Slam in just a moment.
Chequered Flag!
On Speed, you're watching the 19th season of Chequered Flag, proudly presented by Valvoline Sin Power, delivering the ultimate motor oil protection and performance.
Thanks for being with us on the Motorsport Leader, the Speed Channel around Australia, and you're watching exclusive coverage of the Blackchrome Sidecar Grand Slam Series, the opening round. A big thank you to Valvoline Sin Power major sponsor of our program. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Heat number 3 is next, and again a stellar lineup of riders. In the red helmet colour, the Englishmen, Cossa and Whetstone. The former 2 times world champion Mick Headland and Paul Waters from Murray Bridge in blue. Stuart Firth, Yolanda Wilkin from Brisbane in white. Steve Saunders, Clarissa Mitchell from New South Wales in yellow on the outside. I spoke to Clarissa at the start of the show. She was confident a big improvement imminent tonight. We go racing. Headland and Waters, they are out the back. I'm shocked. They've got a lot of work to do. They'll come storming through the pack, I'm sure, as they settle down with Stuart Firth and Yolanda Wilkin from Queensland leading this one.
Yeah, Firthy's been around a while. Looks like he's gone.
Yeah, that's Cossa and Whetstone. We take you on board again. Beautiful pictures. And they have a mechanical woe. They surrender any chance of scoring points in heat number 3. Firth and Wilkin, they're doing a pretty good job out in front. You're right, Firth has been around a long time, went very close to winning the Australian Championship at Gosford in 2006. Then he disappeared from the sport for a few years. Good to see him back.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that story. He came ever so close. I think it was Grant Bond that had a mishap in the final and they restarted it, and Firthy lost. It was just heartbreaking for him. Really nice guy too.
Yeah, he was leading it at that time. Treloar, of course, went on to win the rerun of that race. So Firth and his lady passenger, Yolanda Wilkin, doing an excellent job. They take the checkered flag in heat number 3. We'll recap the minor placings. Headland and Waters, well, they salvaged 2 points despite being tailed off early in the race. And Saunders and Mitchell, they get the 1 point.
Yeah, a comfortable win there for Firth, really, against Headland. And not many people can say they take a comfortable win over Headland, because there's no harder charger in this sport than Mick Headland.
Valvoline, Sin Power, race recap. Well, really, when the tapes flew, the Queensland combo of Firth and Wilkin were well clear. That's the early stages, which saw the English team heading onto the infield, Cossa and Whetstone. And despite the advances of Headland, the checkered flag was too close and Firth and Wilkin too good. We'll head into the pits now and hear from our winning rider.
Stuart, what a start out of gate 3, mate. I haven't seen a start like that for a long time.
It's because you haven't seen me race for a long time. It's been 5 years since I've been racing, but yeah, no, it was a good start. That's how you want to start the night, that's for sure. You know, it is hard to come from gate 3 or 4 and go around everyone, but managed to pull it off, so we're pretty happy.
Yeah, the first couple of laps you sort of slowed a little bit. Mick Headland sort of started hustling you a little bit, but then after that you got your groove and way back into it. 5 years has been a long time.
Yeah, I've never ridden here before either. I've watched it, of course. I was here a couple of years ago, but sort of feel my way around a little bit, but I think slow and steady wins the race around here by the look of it anyway.
Yeah, thanks, Stuart.
Come, mate.
Yeah, wise words there from Stuart Firth in regards to slow and steady wins the race. That's what they've been trying to do here at Kurri, is bond the upper surface with the base, and that's with this new surface just bedding in. And as you can see, the tight line's winning, and anyone that tries to go mid-track or up is really losing out.
Okay, well explained by Stuart and by yourself, Rod. Heat number 4 signifying the final heat in the first round of heats. And there's the field, and again it is world class. Plaisted and Anthony, the defending champions from South Australia. Bond and Cox from Maitland. McFarrell Jr. and Shane Van Ginnigan from New South Wales in white, and Andrew Buchanan and Philippa Burns from Palmerston North in New Zealand. Yellow helmet colour, extreme outside starting gate, Taste Fly, the Kiwis. They got a good start from the outside. Can they lead? No. They come into contact with Bond, who did them no favours. Plaisted and his new passenger, Anthony, the leader. Bond and Cox, they're hustling up on the inside in second.
Yeah, Bond and Cox, nice line through there, but it's Mark Plaisted, the reigning champion. What a wonderful competitor he's been for nearly a decade now, just a great rider.
Wonderful onboard shot. Brian Anthony, the passenger on the back of the Blackchrome sponsored Yamaha. Wonderful pictures. Up the main straight they lead. Lap 3 of 4 now for Valvoline Sin Power. The gap between first and second is out to about 8 bike lengths. Bond and Cox would have liked to have been closer. Buchanan and Philippa Burns from New Zealand are running in third position. Across the start-finish line they run. The yellow flag is on display. 1 lap of the Kurri Speedway to negotiate. And it's all Mark Plaisted and Brian Anthony down the back straight.
Yeah, flying and looking absolutely superb. Treloar will be watching over the fence and thinking, what have I got to do to beat this guy tonight? He's launching himself around this place, and Bond finishes second. Good ride from him too.
Yeah, Bond and Cox, they made some ground the last couple of laps, so they didn't finish too far away from the eventual victors, Blackstead and Brian Anthony. Buchanan and Burns picking up 1 point in their opening ride tonight. It's a very competitive, cutthroat deal, this. Not unusual to see even the biggest names dropping points in qualifying heats. Here's Michael Poole.
Mark, good first ride, mate. The first corner was really, really hard between a couple of guys there. A few nudging, but then once you got your nose in front, away you went.
Yeah, that's it, mate. It's a tight track, and you know, first corner's always going to be tight on a little track like this. So 4 bikes, and you just do what you got to do, mate, and get in front and keep going.
And Brian done a great job, mate, for someone that's only ridden motocross.
Yeah, he's never been here before, mate. That's probably 6 laps he's done around here now. So to get a win against them guys was good, you know. Yeah. Bondi's done a lot of laps around here, so that's a good start.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I might just grab Brian while he's here. Brian, mate, awesome first ride, mate.
Yeah.
It looks like you've been doing Speedway for years.
Nah, I'm pretty new to it, but no, it was good fun. It was really good. Makes it so much easier with a good rider like Mark too, and he just sort of helping me out a lot and giving me good pointers, so fantastic. My first race.
All right, mate, well done, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mick Poole, chatting with Mark Blackstead and Brian Anthony, the Blackchrome Sportswear and Workwear Pit Report. Here's the progress after the completion of 1 round. Obviously wins to Nice, Treloar, Firth and Blackstead. They are joint leaders at this point in advance of Cape Hudson, Headland and Bonda. Nice to have you with us. Valvoline Sin Power presenting another blockbusting episode of Chequered Flag on the Speed Channel. It will be heat number 5, the start of the second round of heats. And look at that sky rod. I'm scared. The storms are coming.
Yeah, it's long been said that if you want to bring rain, put on a Speedway meeting. It hasn't rained in this area for about 3 months, and that'd be a little bit ironic. But just looking at that score chart after round 1, Stewie Firth would have to have a slight advantage. He came off an outside gate, and it hasn't been typical tonight to win off an outside gate. So those 3 points could maybe, you know, mathematically equated to about 4. He's got an advantage.
Spoken like a true former rider. The Blackchrome Grid Girls preparing for the next race, and now the teams come forward to the starting tapes. The Blackchrome starting tapes. Treloar, first one there. Here's Monson and Morgan. They were considered a little unlucky not to win the championship last year. They led it right up to the final round. There's the field. Buchanan, Burns from New Zealand red. Monson, Morgan, Victoria blue. Treloar, Cox, New South Wales white. Firth, Wilkin, Brisbane, Queensland yellow helmet colour. This is a cracking field. This is an outstanding lineup of riders and passengers. The Blackchrome tapes fly. Buchanan and Byrne, the Kiwis, good start. Firth looking quick on the outside again. They drag race down the back straight. Surprise, surprise. Darren Treloar and Blake Cox are last.
Yeah, this is a boil over already. This is going to be a very good heat if Darren Treloar gets his way. He'll want to come through quickly. He's up. Oh, gets a nudge there. Big nudge.
Firth and Wilkin, they get out of shape. The action continues. It's been deemed simply a racing incident. It's not been held up. Nice shot of Monson and Morgan. The Kiwis are in front. The husband and wife team, Andrew Buchanan and Philippa Burns, they operate a engineering business in New Zealand and also a dairy farm. They're very versatile and they do this for fun on the weekends. You're kidding.
Yeah, absolutely. Now what you notice with this track is the 2-wheel drift into the corner, the deceleration, very hard not to get understeer, and that's what makes this track very, very difficult for these sidecars. A really tricky one because you're not on power the whole time. It's very, very hard to ride.
Buchanan and Burns, they exit turn number 4 and the Kiwis take the race win in heat 5. Treloar and Cox did well. They salvaged 2 points out of that. In second, Monson Morgan will be disappointed. They've not had a good start to the meeting. And Firth and Wilkin, after scoring a victory in their opening ride, it has all ended up in tatters in their second race. The Valvoline Sin Power race recap with Rod Calhoun.
Yeah, Buchanan, really good start off the inside, and that really was the race in terms of putting Treloar out of it. That was a big first turn. Monson gave him the last of the nudges, and then Treloar was all at sea there for a while. It took him a while to get through. And just adding, while we watch the recap, as you see the nudge there from Firth that again put Treloar back. 2 distinct straights, 2 distinct corners, and the sidecars often run on more circular showground style venues, so it's a very peculiar track for the sidecars and testing all their skill.
Poor old Warren Monson was all at sea, getting crossed up regularly, so he'll go back to the pits and have a good think about the setup on that bike. And Andrew Buchanan, he'll be well pleased with that. He and his wife had a lot of injuries last year.
Andrew, great ride, mate. First time you've ever seen the place. You beat two of the best riders in Australia.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. It's a lot easier when you're on pole to get that start. You know, the first heat we were on 4, and I thought I had the whole shot, but then suddenly you get pushed out wide and you're right at the back. So it's good to go in the second heat and come away and beat Darren, and I don't even know who else was in there. But
yeah, it was Warren Monson. He'd been leading the series last year, right until the last round.
Yeah, well, we've been struggling all year, so, but sounds like we've got our miss back again, so we'll see what happens in the next heat. But no, good to have a win.
All right, mate, I'll let you get back to
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Really happy for Andrew and Philippa. I did allude to their injuries last year. Andrew had a serious knee injury and Philippa broke a foot. And they had a real up and down season, so let's hope they can find consistency, particularly in this championship in the summer of 2013-2014. This series to appear at 2 new venues this season: Albury on the 18th of January, and also visiting Alice Springs on the 1st of March for the first time. The next round, I should mention, whilst we're talking about future events, is to be held at Murray Bridge Speedway in South Australia on Saturday night, January 4. That is the second round. Grant Bond and Glenn Cox will ride in red from gate 1. Cosser and Whetstone from England in blue. Their compatriots Cave and Williams, white from 3, and Mick Farrell Sr. and Brett Carr, yellow from 4. Really enjoying tonight. The organisers have been in touch with the Weather Bureau. The rain is imminent according to the experts, and you can see the sky. It looks awful. It's a scene from Star Wars. Bond and Cox, they lead onto the back straight the first time.
Yeah, Cosser not far back though. Very competitive, this British combination, doing a great job tonight.
Yeah, Cosser, the reigning British champion. That's him in the blue helmet colour, with Daryl Whetstone on the side of the bike. Their compatriots Mick Cave and Gaz Williams are out the back. Farrell runs in 3rd position. So no change in the order here. They're strung out just slightly. Bond and Cox are on track to score a maximum 3 points in this one.
I'll tell you what, Mick Farrell will have to be happy with tonight. He's been very competitive and scored in a couple of his rides. Looks very neat.
So not far to go now. They're on lap 3 of 4 in this particular heat. After this race, we're going to take you on a lap of the circuit. A brand new camera angle. We have a small camera mounted on the chest of Mark Cosser's passenger, Daryl Whetstone. The pictures are unbelievable. And onto the straight comes Grant Bond and Glenn Cox. They take the win comfortably, and in so doing scored the 3 points. Cosser and Whetstone 2 points. Farrell and Senior and Brett Carr 3rd, and then Cave and Williams. The race time 67.66 seconds.
Yeah, dominant ride from Bondi there. Got a great start off the inside. The red helmet colour, as Buchanan alluded to, it's a good place to be at the moment inside, and Bond made full use of it.
Have a look at this shot. A specially constructed vest on the passenger with the camera mounted in the centre of his chest. Well done to Kira Hawkins, our onboard technician. Just look at this. Unbelievable vision. I don't believe it's ever been done before in Speedway.
No, I wouldn't imagine it hasn't. It'd be enough to scare anyone out of wanting to ride one of these things. Look how raw that is. The wheel just uncovered, almost probably at 6 inches from his body. So just a rugged sport.
Gives you an idea how close they drift towards the wall on the exit to the turns. And of course they're dealing with a lack of visibility as well. Here's Mick.
Grant Bond, that second round there, mate. Great win. And yeah, obviously made it look easy, but yeah, it's very hard. The Englishman was right behind you and trying as hard as he could.
Yeah, that's right. The bike seemed to go flat, that last one. Yeah, so as soon as I went out for a practice start, I knew things weren't right, but I made a pretty good start and just sort of hugged the pole line and got round as quick as I could and hoped that he wouldn't get past. So, yeah, it worked out. Considering I had a bit of bike trouble, yeah, it was great.
Oh, well, hopefully when you get back in the pits next time, you'll sort that out.
Yeah, well, it seems like an electrical problem, so we've got plenty of gear here. We're going to change it and fingers crossed we're going to fix it.
All right, thanks, Grant.
Thank you.
I'm sure Grant will solve whatever his mechanical woes are. He's a very respected engine builder, knows his way around the bikes. Word coming out of the pits is too that their sons, Hayden Bond and Brady Cox, are also having issues. You'll remember they were disappointing in their opening ride tonight. So they're experiencing some setup problems with the bike too is the word, so they'll be working feverishly on the second Bond Cox bike as well.
Yeah, Mick Headland there doing what they call gardening as we look at the lineup. Headland Waters, Plaisted Anthony, Cohen Campbell and Niche Spear. Yeah, they call it gardening, looking for a bit of traction, a little bit of additional traction to what might be there otherwise. And Headland needs to take advantage of this gate 1.
So heat number 7. So far so good in terms of the weather. They're saying the rain is on the way. Let's hope it holds off. Headland and Waters better start on the inside. Oh, Cohen and Campbell. No big pardons. The North Queenslanders go surging up on the inside. Get out of my way, and now Plaisted returns the favour. What a race here. And check out the onboard action. Headland's gone to the front.
Headland's nudged his way through. That was ballsy from Headland. And it's back up the inside. Mark Plaisted. He won't take this lion down. The South Australians on fire.
Oh, wonderful action here in Heat 7. Some of the world's best cutting loose at the Kurri Speedway. What about Brodie Cohen on that first lap? It was incredible.
Cohen. Look, it feels like he's in a washing machine, Brodie Cohen. He's being thrown around.
Headland and Waters lead down the back straight. Mick looking down the bike. He might not be happy. They're being harassed by the defending champs, Plaisted and Brian Anthony running in second spot. It is good stuff here in Heat 7 of the Blackchrome Sidecar Grand Slam.
Yeah, absolutely. That outside line starting to work a little bit better now, and you see him picking up on that. Paul Waters now in his traditional position up there, getting the grip, and down the straightaways, Headland really flying.
Onto the main straight, the South Australians take it. The Murray Bridge combination. Mick Headland, Paul Waters, the race winners in Heat 7. Plaisted Anthony, Cohen Campbell 1 point, and Niche and Spear. They're probably glad it's over, that race. There was plenty of pressure on the first lap or so. It was insane.
It was, and no one tests the strength of a throttle cable like Mick Headland. He just holds it on. Very spectacular. This is a great race. This is smart from Cohen up the inside. Unfortunately for him, just drifted a little bit wide on the exit and left it. Well, I wouldn't say a gap, but Plaisted's about to go through it.
How good is this onboard action?
Yeah, great stuff. Plaisted nudged Cohen, and Headland went past the pair of them. Just a really good corner from Headland there. Smart.
Hope you're enjoying the original Extreme Sports Speedway sidecars. 1040cc maximum engine capacity. No brakes. Big heart. You need loads of intestinal fortitude. And love the onboard shots as you see Brian Anthony hanging on with everything he's got. And a little more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great stuff.
Yeah, it really is great stuff. When you talk in terms of power, I mean, as I said, 1040cc maximum, but if you see a road bike on the street, a highly powerful one on the expressway that accelerates like lightning past your car, that's the engine these things have in them. I mean, it really is a very brutal sport.
No doubt. No place for the faint at heart. That's Hayden Bond you're looking at on the Dr. Mac engines, racing Yamaha. Brady Cox has finished the gardening expedition. He gets back on the machine. I did allude to the fact they had some setup problems. I believe it was with the chair wheel. Let's see if they have rectified that. Red helmet colour gate 1, then Hudson at pit, blue gate 2, Saunders, Clarissa Mitchell, white gate 3, Mick Farrell Jr. and Shane Van Ginnigan, yellow gate 4. So we've got an all-local field here.
Yeah, we have. This will be a good race.
In heat number 8, so plenty of bragging rights up for grabs here, and a few valuable points in the Blackchrome Championship as well. And Saunders. It was Hudson that led. Saunders got away well with Clarissa on the side of the bike. They're up running second. And as always, no place for the faint at heart here on the first lap.
No, Shane Hudson looks tidy, riding just outside of mid-track, and at the moment holding on to first. Saunders under a bit of pressure. This could be a good race, this one. It's Mick Farrell again. He's having a great night tonight.
Yeah, Shane Hudson and Brad Pitt, race leaders. The action, it is plentiful. You can see Saunders and Clarissa Mitchell there doing their best to stay on equal terms with the leading two bikes. And unfortunately, it would appear that Hayden Bond and Brady Cox have still got woes with the setup of that machine. They're out the back. They'd ordinarily be at the pointy end. You also saw there Saunders and Mitchell going infield, so their night not going as planned thus far.
No, absolutely not. And it's still Hudson out in front, but you can see this track really coming into its own now as far as sidecar racing goes. Just outside of mid-track, a little bit of a berm, a little bit of loose dirt there, and that's where the traction is. That's where the passing manoeuvres will come as the night progresses.
Shane Hudson takes the win in Heat 8 with Brad Pitt, Farrell Jr. and Shane Van Ginnigan getting the 2 points in second, and then Hayden Bond and Brady Cox wearing the red helmet colour, scoring 1 point, 67.72. was the racing time. Of course, Shane Hudson, the son of Phil Hudson, sidecar rider in New South Wales from the 90s era. And this kid is pretty fast.
He is, and very quietly spoken, young fella. And his dad, a former Australian finalist, so he's a reasonably talented guy. Still involved with the sport in the background, but unlucky there for the Saunders combination.
Yeah, Saunders and Mitchell, the brother and sister combo. Frustration boiling over as they push their bike to the centre green in the middle here. Hudson was delighted, shaking his head.
Shane, your second ride, mate. Good win from the Blue Gate.
Yeah, mate. It's it's always good to have a good start to the night. Had a second in the first one and just had a win. So 5 points out of 2 rides. It's a solid start.
You really had to make it hustle in the first corner to make it work.
Yeah, well, it's tight joint like this. You know what I mean? Like that inside line is pretty bit of an advantage. You know what I mean? So it's a bit of a hard work to go around. So you got to use it.
All right, thanks, mate.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, well done to Shane Hudson.
Yeah, and just looking at the size of Shane, he's definitely had a growth spurt there, and you wonder at what point it becomes uncomfortable for him to ride one of these machines. As you know, you're down on your knees, very important to be compact and under the wind, and geez, he's a big boy.
There's the progress points after 2 rounds. We have 5 teams equal on 5 points at the end of 2 rounds. How competitive is this Blackchrome Championship? You're watching Chequered Flag for Valvoline SynPower. Here on the program is a look at our visiting international teams.
In just 2 seasons, the Blackchrome Sidecar Grand Slam has quickly grown into one of the most prestigious championships in Australian Speedway. Not since the days of the Clean Team Sidecar Super Prix of the late 1990s has interest in the 3-wheeled form of Speedway bike racing been so huge. This level of interest has spread internationally, and this 3rd season of the Sidecar Grand Slam sees 2 English teams and 1 from New Zealand converge down under to compete against Australia's best riders and passengers for Sidecar Grand Slam supremacy. Leading the charge is the popular New Zealand-based husband and wife crew of Andrew Buchanan and Philippa Burns. The pair have been regulars in the series since its inception and are relishing the opportunity to keep up the Trans-Tasman rivalry as well as fending off the British invasion.
It's a huge effort, organising our business, organising our kids and our farm and just getting everything to here, but it's worth it to come to places like this.
And the bike is your bike you bring over from New Zealand, and do you leave it here or do you take it back?
Yeah, we bring it over on a carnet for 12 months of the year, so we chuck it in a van and ship it all over in one shooting box. And we're doing 10 meetings over here this year, and then home we go again. But we travel backwards and forwards between the meetings.
Leading the British invasion, Mark Cosser is widely considered as the top sidecar competitor in Europe. A national champion in both speedway and grass track disciplines, Cosser and passenger Darryl Whetstone jumped at the chance to take part in the Sidecar Grand Slam, and the pair aren't too concerned at the level of competition they're facing. They're here to win.
Really no, I'm not focusing on that. I'm just going to focus on riding my bike as quick as I can go and see if we're in the final.
Well, these sort of tracks should suit you a little bit more than smaller tracks like in British Speedway tracks, but long grass track a little bit bigger. But do you like the smaller ones or bigger ones?
I like my tracks big and grippy normally. Bigger the better for me. But I'll ride anything. We go pretty good on small tracks at home, so it is what it is.
Meanwhile, Mick Cave has been a regular visitor to our shores over the past 25 years. Back home in England, Cave is a regular frontrunner in not only speedway sidecars, but also in grass track form. Having last visited Australia back in 2011 for the world titles, Cave is excited to be competing again in this country with his young passenger, Gaz Williams.
Yeah, the competition will be good. Worst trouble is for us, we've only really been doing grass track at home because we've had no speedway. We haven't really sat on our bikes for 18 months. So, that was sort of coming over here, was to come over here and have a go and sort of ride with the best, really. So, yeah, should be good.
This sort of field must be fairly close to the World Championship, like you've got most of the top Aussies and you've got a couple of Kiwis over and Mark Costa as well, so it's obviously going to be tough.
Oh yeah, it'd be tough, yeah. I say Mark's their top rider in England. He's really good, on our grass tracks, but hopefully, we're going to have a good run. And we've had a few problems so far, a few ignition problems with the bike. But once that's sorted, hopefully now it's all done. Mick Edlund's been helping us a lot, sorting bits and pieces out. So yeah, looking good, looking forward to it now.
Having an international contingent in a series such as the Sidecar Grand Slam is going to help increase exposure of the sport internationally. And one can only hope that more international teams can take part in this prestigious series in the years to come.
On Speed, you're watching Australia's longest running weekly Speedway show, Chequered Flag, celebrating 19 years. Presented by Valvoline SynPower, delivering the ultimate motor oil protection and performance.
And we appreciate your company tonight on the Speed Channel. You're watching Chequered Flag. And this is the Blackchrome Sportswear and Workwear Speedway Sidecar Grand Slam Series. It's dubbed the ultimate spectacle, and who can argue with that? These bikes are phenomenal. Plenty of bravado on display. There's the social media contacts for Chequered Flag, with thanks to Valvoline SynPower. So we now welcome you back to our coverage, our highlights coverage, and we pick up the action here in heat number 10. And we are really concerned about the weather. We believe it is raining heavily just a few kilometres from the circuit. Saunders Mitchell red, Treloar Cox blue, placed at Anthony White, Cave and Williams the English duo, yellow gate 4.
Yeah, Cave made a good start in his first ride and scored some points. Had a disappointing second ride. See how he goes here in tough company.
Saunders and Mitchell closest to camera. Blackchrome tapes fly. Treloar and Cox best to begin. They cross from position number 2 and take the race lead onto the back straightaway. They're being harassed early in this one from the defending champions, Mark Plaisted and Brian Anthony. They're running in close proximity to the leading duo. Not a lot between them.
No, absolutely not. Plaisted got a bit out of shape there coming out of turn 2, and Darren's opened up just a slight advantage, 4 or 5 metres.
On board now, you can see Brian Anthony working on the back of the Blackchrome Yamaha in second spot. I've got to say, Treloar and Cox look to be fairly effortless at this stage of the race, doing it with a little bit in reserve, I'd suggest.
Yeah, Darren going in on the slick, the slippery area of the track, two-wheel drifting out into that berm I spoke about earlier and picking up some great drive off the turns, as the Maestro often does.
Of course, 7 times and current Australian champion. As we see, Plaisted, he got good drive out of turn number 2 and ends up coming into contact with Darren and Blake. They come off turn number 4. It's been a competitive affair. Chequered Flag on display, and Treloar and Cox take the win. Plaisted Anthony second, they get 2 points. Saunders and Mitchell in the red helmet colour, snaring a point for their efforts in heat 10. 66.82 was the race time.
Very, very quick, and Darren looked brilliant there, and Plaisted managed to tag on the back of him, which we'd expect from Mark. He's a tremendous rider. As we look at the onboard cam here, very tight in the first turn. It was our British visitor Mick Cave that shot up the inside briefly, but these two dominant riders in Australian sidecar racing out in front.
Yeah, there can be no doubt at the moment. Plaisted has established himself certainly among the world's top 3 riders. I guess that's stating the obvious given his race record over the last 12 months. He's been outstanding. Treloar had time for a little look there. And it didn't take him long to find Plaisted because Plaisted hit him.
Yeah, exactly right. And I wonder the momentum from winning last year's Sidecar Grand Slam, what that does for Plaisted's mindset going into this series and also the Australian Championship, which he's yet to win.
Yep, it's the only big race to have eluded him. There's Niche and Spear. They won their opening ride tonight. Bond and Cox having some problems, enlisting the help of some of the lads in the pits. They're okay now, fired up, heading around to the starting tapes. Been an outstanding performer, Grant Bond, and he and Glenn Cox, haven't they done some laps together?
Yeah, that's one of the things that's changed in sidecar racing in the last 5 years is the transient nature of the combinations. They do change passengers a lot more often than they used to, Bond being one exception.
Yeah, he's had Cox on the bike for 20 years, I would have thought. Hudson Pitt, Firth Wilkin, Bond Cox, Niche and Spear. Fairly competitive heat here. They've all looked good. Hudson, Firth and Niche have all won a race tonight. Bond finished second in his last ride. Bond creeps forward. Oh, you saw there Stuart Firth. He got a flyer as the Blackchrome tapes flew. The Brisbane rider was a metre in front. What anticipation there.
Yeah, very well done from Firth. It's so critical in Speedway, whether it's solos or sidecars, to get the start, and Firth has got that wired.
Right, some referees would have pulled that up. He got a roller, it's called in the business.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to say earlier, but in his first ride off gate through the race he won, he also got a roller. But it's being let go through to the keeper, for want of a better term, and so be it. Pick up the points.
Too true. No shortage of physicality here, as we saw Niche and Spear having a rough ride. There's no change in the order. Hudson is continually under siege from Grant Bond. That's second and third you're looking at. Stuart Firth from Queensland and Yolanda Wilkin are going to win this one comfortably as they cross the start-finish line. There's one lap to run.
I'll tell you what, Bond is going to be none too happy with what's happening here tonight. This is his home track. He's very quick around here, almost won an Aussie title here, and he just doesn't look himself. Obviously got problems with that bike, and he'll be working feverishly to fix them. As Firth again, another good ride from Stewie.
Yeah, Bond in an earlier interview with Mick alluding to electrical problems. It would appear they still have the gremlins beneath the body panels, if you like. So Firth and Wilkin, their second win of the night. And that's a good effort from a team who are trying to reinvigorate their career after an extended spell on the sidelines. You can absolutely smell the rain in the air here. We'll be lucky to get this meeting concluded. They tell me it is pouring everywhere but the Speedway venue. There are a few spots of rain at the moment.
Yeah, it's the rain around, and it has been all day. So in terms of luck, there was some good luck in that. There was some that we have got where we've got so far, and let's hope we can keep going. But it's been a terrible day.
Final heat in the third round. Buchanan Burns from New Zealand, Bond Cox from Maitland, Cossa Whetstone, England, Cohen Campbell, Far North Queensland, Townsville to be precise. Campbell, a former Australian champion. Sorry, Rod.
Sorry, Dave was going to say Cohen, surely this must be his race. He's just had no luck tonight whatsoever. Again, he's caught out wide. He's going to need that berm to come around this field.
Yep.
Getting caught out of position a little bit tonight, Brodie, unusual for him.
Yeah, getting filled in too with the flying dirt. Buchanan and Burns, we ride on board with the Kiwis, and they are clear-cut race leaders. They're having a good night at Kurri this evening. And charging down the back straight, the English duo of Cossa and Whetstone running second. Bond and Cox are being harassed at the back of the field by Cohen and Campbell, who are trying to make some progress. I agree with you, Rod. Cohen uncharacteristically getting caught in no man's land tonight on a number of occasions.
Yeah, I think the track's gone away from where it was earlier. Brodie was caught wide when it was a good place to ride tight, and now Darren, as you saw with Darren and Mark Playstead, they were riding wide. Darren Treloar and Mark Playstead, they were riding wide now, and now Brodie's caught down low, so tough night for him.
So the husband and wife combination, Buchanan and Burns, exiting turn number 4, and you can see the raindrops there. It is starting to pour here in Kurri as Buchanan and Burns take the checkered flag. The rain is pelting down. Cossa and Whetstone were in second spot. Bond and Cox were third. So there they are, the husband and wife team out of Palmerston North in New Zealand. It is pouring here at Kurri. I don't think we're going to get this meeting completed tonight, and what a tragedy ahead of the second round of the championship to be held at Murray Bridge on January 4. The onboard action typically robust, the helmet of Cal Campbell.
Yeah, we see Cossa there come through and nudge into the side of Cal Campbell and Brodie Cohen. And as we said during the call, Brodie pushed wide. A little bit out of luck tonight, but I guess it comes and goes for the top guys.
Now this is the chest cam on Darryl Whetstone. Look at the dirt flying and the hostilities. They run up close to the fence on the main straight. And as I speak, as you look at this replay of the onboard, it is pelting down. That's the progress after 3 rounds with Treloar and Cox and Headland and Waters joint leader. Now you'll find that organisers will declare the meeting now, and Treloar and Headland will be given joint victory, if you like, in tonight's opening round, which is the only fair way of doing it. And this is set in now, and have a look at the scene in the pits. That's what you call absolutely torrential. Let's go down to Mick.
Darren, unfortunately the rain's come, mate. You're looking pretty good there, only dropped a point.
Yeah, it was a bit of the first race wasn't too bad, but the track caught us out a little bit, you know. There wasn't as much grip as I thought there'd be, but definitely it was all right, but it was a bit wet. But yeah, in the second race, sort of got knocked around a bit. You know, the boys are going in a bit hard and knocked me around. I went from I was at last at one stage, got back up to the second, and the third race we just started getting dialed in. It was feeling good, so I was looking forward to the next one, and we'll see how we fared up.
Yeah, unfortunately this weather's come in now, but obviously the track's pretty bad now, but it doesn't look like we're going to get it back on.
No, if it stopped now and they got the grader out, we might be able to fix it, but it's just come down again now, so it's pretty hard when it's pretty wet like that. You can't do nothing with it.
Yeah, thanks to Darren and Mick. Well, there's the scene. Spectators have left. It has absolutely poured here. And as I alluded to earlier, Treloar and Headland have been given an equal share of the championship lead after one round. Here's Mick.
Brian, unfortunately the rain's come, mate, but sitting on 7 points, looking good for an A final.
Yeah, that's it. Hopefully it sort of disappears, but by the sounds of it, it's not going to happen. So, yeah, it was good fun. So, had a ball.
Really good race with right behind Darren Treloar, really pushed him all the way.
Yeah, it was good. It's probably a bit of passenger fault. I probably shouldn't have been in the wrong spot, but might have had a bit of better outcome. But yeah, doing what we can and learn from our mistakes. So it's good fun.
All right, thanks very much, mate.
No worries, thanks, mate.
Yeah, Brian Anthony there, hoping against hope only prolongs the agony. In some cases, the meeting definitely will not continue. It is bucketing down, and there's an onboard shot of the English team having a chat. Look, we'll go back downstairs and hear from Mick Headland, who will be declared a joint winner of the meeting. And Mick Poole is in position to catch up with the former 2 times world champion right now.
Mick, in your second ride, mate, you had a big drive up the inside and made the pass stick, and then locked up a little bit here. Is the bike a little bit unsettled in that one, or?
Oh, look, we're just sort of feeling it out. We're just sort of getting used to it when the rain come down, and yeah, the track's maybe a little bit different since we rode here last. I put a bit of granite on there, and I think we're getting it sorted now. It's just set up mainly.
Yeah, your third ride, mate. I think you won the race by length of the straight and really got it sorted out there. But unfortunately, like you said, this rain's come and, no one can do anything about it.
Yeah, I think we just sort of got the setup right. We're going to stick with the R1 and see how we went the rest of the night. But, that's Mother Nature, isn't it?
It is, mate. Good luck for the rest of the series.
Cheers. Thank you.
So the opening round of the Blackchrome Sidecar Grand Slam declared at the completion of 12 qualifying heat races. Darren Treloar, Blake Cox and Mick Headland, Paul Waters, joint winner of the meeting. They're allocated 19 points, and Buchanan, Burns, Hudson, Pitts, Playstead and Anthony on 14 points. It was an interesting night. Very disappointing that Mother Nature has intervened. It was going to be a wonderful final series. Speedway Racing News magazine, the sport's premier read, is now on sale at a newsagent near you, $6.95 for 60 pages, bursting full of the latest world and Australian news. Some fantastic feature stories. For further info, you can visit Facebook or Twitter. Chequered Flag, next week we welcome back the Speed Car Pro Series, round 3 from the Quint Bunbury Speedway. The Speed Car Pro Series has been an outstanding success in its inaugural season. You'll see it next Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. right here. Okay, Rod Colquhoun, thanks for your efforts tonight. Unfortunately, Mother Nature destroying the event. That's the way the cookie crumbles, as they say. The rain is getting heavier, if anything.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. A shame, but we saw some good racing and plenty more to come in this series.
We will see you next time. Thanks for watching us on Chequered Flag. We're going to get washed away. Take care.
You've been watching Chequered Flag on Speed, proudly presented by Valvoline SynPower, delivering the ultimate motor oil protection and performance.